Coming up next on WSIX TV, Wide World of Sports, Eyewitness News, and live studio championship wrestling. All tonight on Channel 8.
Stay tuned to Channel 8 for live studio championship wrestling. Coming up right after the news.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat. The human drama of athletic competition. This is ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Brought to you by Allstate Insurance Companies. For insurance to protect your car, your home, your life and health, business too, you're in good hands with Allstate. By the Shell Oil Company, makers of Super Shell, the gasoline for good mileage. Super Shell in the clean white pump, wherever you see the sign. And by Weyerhaeuser, the company that's working on tomorrow's ideas in pulp, paper, packaging, lumber, plywood, and other building materials.
WSIX TV Channel 8 presents Live Studio Championship Wrestling.
Welcome to Live Studio Championship Wrestling. I am Nick Gulas, and we have a great show lined up, featuring the top wrestling stars such as...
From Memphis, Tennessee, the fabulous Jackie Fargo. From Dallas, Texas, Joe and Bill Sky. Don Carson and Bearcat Brown. The team of Don Carson and the Red Shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the popular team of Ken Lucas and Dennis Hall. Don and Al Green. We are the Spoilers, and we are the mass terror of the wrestling world! Ladies and gentlemen, here come the masked interns, accompanied by their manager, Dr. Ken. Jackie Fargo and Len.
It's Saturday evening in the late 1960s. Families across Middle Tennessee gather around their television sets. With only 3 local stations to choose from, every show was an event. On Channel 4, viewers enjoyed favorites like Flat and Scruggs, People Are Funny, The Bob Crosby Show, and Opening Night, before settling in for the late-night movie. Over on Channel 5, audiences tuned in to Perry Mason, Top Dollar, Have Gun, Will Travel, Gunsmoke, and The $1 Million Movie. These classic westerns, mysteries, and dramas became part of America's weekend tradition. Channel 8 offered a different kind of entertainment. Young people danced along with TV Bop Hop and The Dick Clark Show. Country music fans enjoyed local performances, and millions watched the always popular Lawrence Welch Show. But as the evening wore on, something special was about to happen. At 9:30, the excitement shifted from music and variety shows to the bright lights of the television studio. The ring was set. The crowd was roaring. The cameras were rolling. Live Studio Championship Wrestling came on the air, bringing fans the stars of the Nick Gulas and Roy Welch territory. Heroes and villains battled it out in front of a packed studio audience, with hard-hitting action, dramatic interviews, and unforgettable rivalries that kept viewers glued to their televisions every Saturday night. For wrestling fans across Tennessee, this wasn't just another TV show. It was the highlight of the week. When Live Studio Championship Wrestling hit the air, everything else could wait. Saturday night truly belonged to professional wrestling.
Let's hear from our sponsor, Mountain Dew. It'll tickle your innards.
Oh, Sal was a stone-hearted gal, refusing to bill or to coo. But Clem was right smart. He appealed to her heart with that gal getting good old Mountain Dew.
Yahoo! Mountain Dew!
Mountain Dew will tickle your innards cause there's a bang in every bottle.
At the county turkey shoot, 'cause Luke warn't worth a hoot. He was hopeless till he finally took the cue.
Yahoo! Mountain Dew!
Now he shoots off the cuff, gets more than enough after nipping at that good old Mountain Dew.
Sure as shooting, there's a bang in every bottle of our delicious soft drink, Mountain Dew. It'll tickle your innards.
In the golden age of professional wrestling, few stars became as beloved in the South as Len Rossi. Born in Italy and raised in Utica, New York, Rossi moved to Nashville and quickly became one of the biggest fan favorites in the Nick Gulas and Roy Welch wrestling territory. Although he grew up in the North, Southern wrestling fans embraced him as one of their own. His athletic style, highlighted by his spectacular flying dropkick and punishing Boston Crab, made him a must-see attraction every time he stepped into the ring. Before turning professional, Rossi excelled as an amateur wrestler, winning championships in New York State. Wrestling promoter Ed Don George recognized his talent and helped launch a career that would take him across the United States, Canada, Mexico, Hawaii, and Japan. During a tour of Japan, Rossi earned the respect of both the fans and the Japanese wrestling community. He visited Hiroshima's Peace Memorial, met local journalists, and demonstrated his wrestling techniques while serving as an ambassador for the sport. Back home, Len Rossi wasn't just a wrestling champion. He was a devoted family man. With his wife Lee and their children Joe and Adela, he built a life in Nashville while also pursuing a successful country music career. His recording of Wrestler's Prayer sold more than 25,000 copies, proving his talents extended far beyond the wrestling ring. Rossi also dedicated countless hours to helping young athletes. He worked with high school wrestling teams, mentored young wrestlers, supported charitable causes, and appeared at fundraising events for organizations helping children and those with muscular dystrophy and polio. Inside the squared circle, Len Rossi captured numerous championships, including the Southern Heavyweight Championship and the World Tag Team Championship, alongside Tex Riley. His speed, conditioning, and sportsmanship earned him respect from fellow wrestlers and fans alike. More than 50 years later, Len Rossi remains one of the true legends of Tennessee wrestling. His legacy lives on through the memories of packed arenas, exciting matches, and the countless lives he touched both inside and outside the ring. He wasn't just the idol of the South, he was one of the finest ambassadors professional wrestling has ever known. In the late 1960s, one of the most feared tag teams in professional wrestling stormed through the Gulas and Welch territory. They were known simply as the Spoilers, two masked wrestlers who struck fear into opponents and drew loud reactions from fans everywhere they appeared. Managed by the outspoken gentleman Saul Weingeroff, the Spoilers became one of the most hated acts in wrestling. Their rough, punishing style and willingness to bend the rules made them villains wherever they wrestled. Fans packed arenas hoping to finally see someone stop the masked duo. According to this wrestling review feature, fans even joked that someone should ban the spoilers and that Empercento Fauer Weingeroff. That's just how much emotion the team created. The article describes the spoilers as one of the most brutal tag teams in the sport, while Weingeroff defended his men, insisting they were simply tough competitors unfairly criticized by their enemies. The controversy didn't stop there. Opponents often accused Weingeroff of using illegal tactics, including mysterious fireball attacks that appeared to leave wrestlers with burns. Weingeroff denied every accusation, claiming there was no proof and dismissing the charges as excuses from defeated opponents. Whether fans believed him or not, the spoilers' list of victims was impressive. Wrestling stars such as Len Rossi, Jackie Fargo, Don Carson, Johnny Walker, Buddy Fuller, Tojo Yamamoto, Bearcat Brown, Wilbur Snyder, and many others all found themselves battling the masked menace. The article also pointed out that the spoilers captured numerous championships, including World Tag Team, Tennessee State Tag Team, and Southern Tag Team titles. Their dominance inside the ring made them one of the premier teams of the era. Love them or hate them, the spoilers and Saul Weingeroff knew exactly how to get a reaction. They were masters of old-school wrestling psychology, turning every match into a battle between good and evil. Decades later, they remain one of the most memorable villainous teams in the rich history of Gulas and Welch Championship Wrestling. In the golden era of Southern professional wrestling, few tag teams captured the imagination of fans like the pairing of Len Rossi and Bearcat Brown. Their popularity exploded throughout the Gulas-Welch territory, and the Ring magazine featured the team in an article titled "Southern Fans Go Wild Over New Tag Team Stars." The story explains that Len Rossi had already become one of the South's most beloved wrestling stars. When an injury forced Don Carson out of action, promoter Nick Gulas needed a new partner for the powerful Bearcat Brown. The choice was Rossi, and it proved to be one of the greatest decisions in Southern wrestling history. The new team immediately found itself in a heated rivalry with the masked spoilers, managed by the loud and controversial gentleman Saul Weingeroff. The battles were anything but ordinary. Chairs were used, tempers exploded, and the crowds were completely caught up in every minute of the action. The article describes a dramatic television incident in which Weingeroff threw a fireball at Don Carson, setting the stage for the feud. Rossi stepped in to join Bearcat Brown, and the fans couldn't wait to see the new team get their hands on the spoilers. When the match finally took place, the atmosphere was electric. Thousands of fans packed the arena, cheering every punch, every slam, and every comeback. Rossi and Brown fought with determination, while the spoilers relied on underhanded tactics and outside interference. The action spilled outside the ring as both teams battled all around ringside. Despite the chaos, Rossi and Brown refused to back down. Their teamwork and determination carried them to victory as they defeated the spoilers to capture the Southern Tag Team Championship. The crowd erupted in celebration as the two fan favorites proudly held their championship belts high above their heads. The Ring magazine noted that although Rossi and Brown had very different wrestling styles, they complemented each other perfectly. Rossi's speed and technical skill combined with Bearcat Brown's incredible power created one of the most exciting tag teams in the South. For wrestling fans throughout Tennessee, Alabama, and the entire Gulas-Welch territory, Rossi and Bearcat Brown became more than champions. They became heroes. Their unforgettable battles with the spoilers remain some of the most exciting and memorable tag team matches in the rich history of Southern
for live
professional
studio
wrestling.
championship wrestling as promoted by Gulas and Welch. Coming up next, we did it! World Tag Team Champs! Yeah, we showed them! Best team ever! Thank you, fans! Unstoppable! These belts are ours! Hell yeah! Let's show them the belts! Yeah, parade time! We are the champions!
Tag Team Team! We know that we champions first!
Let's check in with our sponsors. We'll be right back with more live studio championship wrestling right here on Channel 8.
best you ever tried. Look for me on the label of Tennessee Pride. It's real country sausage, yes sirree. The secret of the goodness is the recipe. But before this song is done, all played, Mr. Odom will tell you how it's made.
Well, we start with fresh meat that's really grand, pure whole hog pork, the best in the land. Then we add a dash of X and a pinch of Z, and for flavor and taste we add Y9D. A touch of Odom magic blends all three. That's the secret of the secret recipe.
Our real country sausage, the best you ever tried. Look for me on the label of Tennessee Pride. A package of Tennessee Pride.
December 1969 was a memorable time in America. On the radio, Diana Ross and the Supremes were at #1 with Someday We'll Be Together, the final #1 hit of the 1960s. On television, audiences were tuning in each week to the nation's highest-rated show, Marcus Welby, M.D. And at the movie theater, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid was the box office sensation, starring Paul Newman and Robert Redford. But for wrestling fans across Tennessee, Wednesday nights meant something even more exciting. Thousands packed the Nashville Fairgrounds Coliseum to see the stars of Nick Gulas and Roy Welch's championship wrestling. The roar of the crowd, the ringing of the bell, and the unforgettable battles between fan favorites and hated villains made professional wrestling one of the hottest attractions in the state.
The interns, but on the outside most of the night, issuing instructions to his masked interns. Both interns into the ring again, double kick into the midsection, and Pepper Gomez again finds himself on the mat. Another characteristic of the two interns, double teaming the man, as you've just seen. Clotheslining Gomez off of those ropes. The count reaches one as Jackie Fargo, the fabulous one from Memphis, comes in to save his partner Gomez from the tag. Nice maneuver by Gomez, trying to get over to his corner to possibly tag Jackie Fargo. The intern going right to the jaw of Gomez. Fargo trying to enter the ring, but however, not without benefit of tag. So there was no tag made. And the interns continue their switching game, tagging in and out on Pepper Gomez, utilizing both men at one time on the man. Gomez exchanging punches now with a big intern. And again, Gomez runs right head on into that big knee. And as I mentioned, watch the interns switch in and out, as this they'll do all throughout the match. Gomez off of those ropes, a thundering collision, and both men are down. One intern coming off, we begin to think one of the interns is coming off the rope, and here comes Fargo. Jackie Fargo comes in, drops the man with a drop kick, and goes to work immediately. Whips the man into those turnbuckles. Watch that, right over the top almost. Jackie Fargo, building up a lot of momentum, takes the man high over the top. All four men in the ring. Gomez sending one intern outside. And Jackie Fargo, here comes the atomic drop. One intern is down, and he is, by the way, the legal man. Fargo chooses to lift the man up rather than go for the pin. A second atomic drop. And one intern is pinned. The other intern on the outside of the ring pulling Fargo out, hammering away at Fargo, now exchanging punches right out on the floor. Gomez has the other one, while Fargo outside really going to work on one intern. Referee Paul Morton continuing to count both men, and one intern has held Jackie Fargo out of the ring, and the interns are going to win this one, as Jackie Fargo has been counted out with the aid of the other intern on the outside holding the man out. Paul didn't see this particular maneuver. The interns, in their usual fashion, steal a win from Fargo and Gomez. Gomez and Fargo complaining to referee Paul Morton about this, but as I mentioned, your referee didn't see this, as the one intern was hidden on the floor. Fargo and Gomez don't believe this match is over as they continue to pound on the two mask-clad interns. Both men slam together. Fargo and Gomez, losers tonight. The match is over as Paul Morton has awarded a match.
In 1969, professional wrestling was still thriving in towns all across Tennessee, and one of the busiest promotions in the South belonged to Nick Gulas and Roy Welch. While fans packed the big arenas in Nashville, Memphis, and Birmingham, Gulas and Welch also promoted what wrestlers simply called spot shows. These spot shows were smaller events held in communities like Dixon, Columbia, Cookeville, Shelbyville, Lawrenceburg, and dozens of other towns. Most communities would see wrestling only 2 or 3 times a year, making each visit a special event that local fans looked forward to for months. This newspaper advertisement announced one of those spot shows coming to the Dixon National Guard Armory. Headlining the card were hometown favorite Len Rossi and rising star Les Thatcher against the feared masked spoilers. The evening also featured U.S. Women's Champion Cora Combs taking on Sarah Lee in a 2 out of 3 falls match. The National Guard armories were perfect wrestling venues. They brought the action right into the community, with fans sitting just a few feet from the ring. Every show had the atmosphere of a major event because there were so few opportunities each year to see live professional wrestling in town. These spot shows were an important part of the Gulas and Welch territory. They allowed wrestling fans in smaller communities to experience the same stars they watched on television every week, helping build loyal followings throughout Tennessee and across the Southeast. For fans in Dixon, January 1969 wasn't just another Tuesday night. It was the return of professional wrestling, and for one exciting evening, the National Guard Armory became the center of the wrestling world.
Let's check in with our sponsors. We'll be right back with more live studio championship wrestling right here on Channel 8.
Now you big flag with Martha White.
Yes, sir.
Goodness gracious, good night, Martha White.
Martha White.
For the finest cornbread you can bake. Get Martha White's surprising meal. Hot rice surprising meal. Martha White's surprising meal, for goodness sake.
Yes, ladies, you'll make your family mighty happy when you serve cornbreads made with Martha White's self-rising cornmeal. It's got hot rise, Martha White's own miracle baking ingredient that gives you cornbreads that are higher and lighter every time. Get a bag of Martha White's self-rising cornmeal with hot rise right away, and you'll agree.
For the finest cornbread you can bake, get Martha White's surprising meal. Hot rice surprising meal. Martha White's surprising meal, for goodness sake.
Wednesday night in the Nashville heat, dusty chairs on the concrete street. Nick Gulas and Roy Welch, they got the floor, lining them up at the Coliseum door. From Len Rossi's grip to Jackie Fargo's sass, world's greatest wrestling, no better class. Under those rafters and the wooden seats, feel the rhythm of the heavy-hitting beats. Wednesday night at the fairgrounds, baby. Drive the whole crowd half crazy. Gulas and Welch, they bring the pain. King of the sports, where the Titans fall. World's greatest wrestling for one and all. Here come the Yankees, big and strong.
Mephisto and Dante, where the villains belong. Saw Wing and Rob's tricks and Tojo's bite. Joe and Bill Sky getting ready to fight in that square ring under the Coliseum light. Legends born in the middle of the night. Through the smoke and the folding chairs, you can hear the ghost of the wrestlers' prayers. Wednesday night at the fairgrounds, baby. Drive the whole crowd half crazy. Gulas and Welch, they bring the pain. King of the sports, where the Titans fall. World's greatest wrestling for one and all. Wednesday night at the fairgrounds, baby. Drive the whole crowd half crazy. Gulas and Welch, they bring the pain. King of the sports, where the Titans fall. World's greatest wrestling for one and all. Nick and Roy, world's greatest. See you next Wednesday.
Tonight, we take over! Yeah, we're unstoppable! No one can stand against us! We're the kings! Bring the chaos!
Step right up and see the lights glare in the black and white. WMCV Channel 17 brings the Nashville heat tonight. WMCV Channel 10 brings the Nashville heat tonight. From the mind of Nick Gulas and the heart of Roy Welch, we're serving up a lesson that the history books won't teach. The special on announcement is screaming on the screen, the meanest bunch of wrestlers that the world has ever seen. Jackie Fargo's coming to town to turn the world upside down. With a loaded fist and a gravel voice, he's the king of this here town. Can you hear the crowd go wild? Can you feel the tension rise? There's a fire in the studio. Look at the hunger in their eyes. Look at the hunger in their eyes. Len Rossi's ready for the fight. He's a mountain of a man. While Mephisto and Dante are hatching up an evil plan. Bearcat Brown is growling loud. Don Carson's got a scowl. And the mighty Yankees are coming with a midnight howl. Put the rabbit ears upon the set and let the static clear, because the baddest names in wrestling are finally dressed in a gravel voice. He's the king of this here town. Can you hear the crowd go wild? Can you feel the tension rise? There's a fire in the studio. Look at the hunger in their eyes. Look at the hunger in their eyes. See you Saturday at 8. Don't you dare be late. Channel 17, Nashville, Tennessee. Gulas and Welch, that's a wrap.
Watch out, Hickerson coming in, going after Rich. Rich lashes out at the midsection. We've had a vicious match going here. This has been a feud that's been building for a long time. Condrey and Hickerson against Yamamoto and Rich. Hickerson in there, pulling here, but Tommy Rich battling back almost by instinct. He seems groggy, rubber-legged, falls into the rope. But he's coming back now. Look at him. Look at him. Lay him in there. Oh, here comes another one. There it goes. Tojo Yamamoto coming in, taking on Hickerson. As Tommy Rich goes after Condrey, puts him on the ropes, straddles him, just does a spread eagle on top of him. He's got him down for one. Hickerson kicked him in the head to break it up. Tojo Yamamoto still in there, the referee, trying to get Tojo out, trying to get Hickerson out. But Hickerson has his boot off. He took his boot off. He's hammered Tommy Rich in the back of the head with that boot. Tommy Rich down on the mat. He's not moving. Tojo going after Hickerson. Dennis Condrey in the ring with Tommy Rich. He's tied his leg up. He's got a string around his leg, his ankle. Now he's tying it to the rope. Tommy Rich being tied to the rope. As Tojo battles it out with Hickerson, the referee trying to separate them is not noticed. Tommy Rich tied to the rope. Now Condrey joins Hickerson in pounding down on Tojo Yamamoto. Tommy Rich trying to free himself, but tried in such a way that he can't get at the knot. Condrey kicking at Tommy Rich. Tojo Yamamoto taking a beating from Hickerson and Condrey. Tommy trying to free himself desperately. At last, no, I thought he was free, but he is not. The spectator trying to come to his aid. Of course, that cannot be. The police having to keep the spectators away as Tommy Rich tries to free himself. Now the referee assisting. Tojo Yamamoto's head is bleeding. A cut has been opened up on his head from this pounding he's receiving from Hickerson and Condrey. Still, Tommy Rich tied up. The referee tried to free him, turned his attention to Tojo for just a moment. Now goes back to the cord, holding Tommy Rich securely to that rope. Dennis Condrey moving in on Tommy Rich, kicking and stomping at him. The referee has not stopped the match. I would have suspected by now that he would have been forced to. Tojo Yamamoto bleeding, blood streaming down both sides of his face and to his eyes. Tommy Rich struggling valiantly with that rope. Dennis Condrey kicks him down. Now the referee signals for the bell to sound. Undoubtedly it will be a disqualification. Dennis Condrey taking his boot off, hitting Tojo in the head with it. Tommy Rich has been kept out of this action for some time now by that cord around the ankle. Again, the referee trying to free him. Tommy cut down by Condrey. The bell sounds, but the battle goes on in the ring. Condrey and Hickerson pounding away at Tojo Yamamoto. Tommy Rich fighting desperately to free himself. He has been tied up securely. Well, the bell has sounded. I'm sure it'll be a disqualification. I'm certain of it, but I've received no signal to that effect from the referee as yet. Again, Tommy Rich trying to free himself, and Condrey interferes. Tojo taking a pounding. Hickerson and Condrey having almost free rein. Now Condrey biting on the head of Tojo Yamamoto, trying to open the gash even greater. This is not a wrestling match. This is brutality. Tojo Yamamoto staggering, hanging onto the ropes, blinded by his own blood, lashing out with that judo chop. Tommy Rich still tied up. Tojo lashing out. Now he goes for the wooden shoe. Watch it, he's got that shoe, but Hickerson standing over him. Pounds down. Condrey joining Hickerson, but Hickerson goes down. Tojo hits Condrey with that shoe. Drives him to his knees. Hickerson coming back in on Tojo Yamamoto. Down Hickerson goes. Tojo using that wooden shoe like a club. Drives Condrey away. Tommy Rich driven through the ropes, hanging off the apron, still tied to the top rope. What a wild affair this is. The referee having to get outside the ring to help Tommy Rich, hanging there from the ropes. The bell sounds repeatedly, but the battle goes on. Condrey going after Tommy Rich again. Now Condrey and Hickerson at last leaving the ring.
Here. Right now, we've got coming out the Japanese team of Masafuchi and Mr. Onita. Tojo Yamamoto here to talk just a little bit about his fellow countrymen.
Mr. Lance Russell, I want to introduce to you and all the wrestling fans the two honorable imperial wrestlers that are brought here from Japan, Masafuchi and Mr. Onita.
I'm surprised to see him here, Tojo, because it was my understanding the last time I talked to you about him, they came here for the world title shot, which they were unsuccessful at, and they were going right back to Japan.
Well, Mr. Lance Russell, I am very amazed of myself. I tell you, when I saw these two Japanese wrestlers, because I tell you, it's so amazed, like I said, you know what I mean? That's why now I'm going to try to negotiate with them, and I'm going to try to manage them, and I'm going to try to manage them and guide them to be one of the top wrestlers in the world today. I'm going to try to succeed and try to get them the World Tag Team Champion, and after the World Tag Team Champion, we're going to get the Southern Tag Team Champion, and then after that, I'm going to get...
Few men in professional wrestling could stir up controversy quite like Saul Weingeroff. The outspoken manager of the feared Von Brauner brothers built his reputation by talking big, bending the rules, and letting his wrestlers do the fighting. But eventually, his luck ran out. After repeatedly avoiding a scheduled match against the legendary Jackie Fargo, wrestling officials had seen enough. Saul was ordered to face Fargo or risk suspension and a substantial fine. There would be no more excuses and no more escape. Earlier, Weingeroff had tried to back out of the match, sending a telegram to promoters Nick Gulas and Roy Welch saying, "If you want me, you'll have to take them too," referring to the Von Brauner brothers. But with the brothers no longer part of the card, the excuse didn't hold up. The National Wrestling Alliance and the State Athletic Commission issued an ultimatum. Either Saul stepped into the ring with Jackie Fargo, or he would face severe consequences that could end his career as an active wrestling manager. Jackie Fargo wasn't lacking confidence. The wrestling superstar boldly claimed he could pin Weingeroff twice within 20 minutes and settle the score once and for all. Saul, never one to admit defeat, insisted Fargo couldn't do it. Fans throughout the Nick Gulas and Roy Welch territory eagerly anticipated the showdown. Would the smooth-talking manager finally pay for years of insults and interference? Or could Saul Weingeroff somehow survive against one of the most popular and dangerous wrestlers of his era? It was another unforgettable chapter in the rich history of Gulas-Welch Championship Wrestling, where colorful personalities, heated rivalries, and unforgettable moments kept fans filling arenas week after week.
watching WSIX TV, Channel 8 in Nashville, Tennessee.
If you were a wrestling fan in Nashville during the 1960s and 1970s, the Sam Davis Hotel was more than just a downtown landmark. It was the headquarters of one of professional wrestling's most successful promotions. Located at 7th Avenue and Commerce Street, the lobby of the Sam Davis Hotel housed the offices of legendary promoters Nick Gulas and Roy Welch. Every week, fans from across Middle Tennessee stopped by to buy their advance tickets for the biggest wrestling event in town. Those tickets were for Wednesday night at the Nashville Fairgrounds Coliseum, where thousands packed the arena to see the stars of the National Wrestling Alliance. Legends such as Jackie Fargo, Len Rossi, Tojo Yamamoto, The Interns, Don Carson, Bearcat Brown, Mephisto, and Dante all thrilled Nashville crowds under the Gulas Welch banner. For many fans, the excitement started days before the matches. Walking into the Sam Davis Hotel lobby, purchasing those prized ringside tickets, and talking wrestling with fellow fans became a weekly tradition. The hotel served as the nerve center of Nashville wrestling, where matches were promoted, business was conducted, and the anticipation for Wednesday night continued to build. Today, the Sam Davis Hotel remains an important part of Nashville wrestling history, a place where countless memories began before the bell ever rang at the Fairgrounds Coliseum.
Andy, we'll look for you next week, right here at the same time, 11 o'clock. Until then, a reminder that Studio Wrestling comes to you from the studios of Channel 13 at 485 South Highland. Directed today by John Wolf. This is Lance Russell speaking for Dave Brown, inviting you back again next week and bidding you a very good day.
Wrestling fans, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned for Shock Theater right here next on Channel 8.
Good evening, seekers of the strange. Tonight, Shock Theater presents Story Risk Terror, things that break terror, names that glory within the lights.